welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really going deep on Tesla. It's a company that, well, it always seems to get people talking, lots of strong opinions flying around.
It definitely does.
So our goal here is to kind of unpack the latest info, using the sources you shared with us, try and cut through some of that noise, get to the core insights about where Tesla actually stands right now, and maybe where it might be heading. Think of it as getting you properly informed about a company at a pretty critical point.
It's definitely a complex picture right now. And, the sources give us this really interesting snapshot. You've got the challenges in the, let's call it the traditional EV business.
Right, the cars.
Exactly. Versus these, really ambitious plans for autonomous tech down the line. It's crucial, I think, to look at both sides of that coin.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that then. We probably have to start with the immediate news, right? Those Q2 2025 delivery numbers, they just came out July 2nd.
And showed another drop year over year.
Yeah, another drop.
Yeah.
And everyone's kind of holding their breath for the full financials, July 23rd. That'll show the real impact on revenue earnings.
That's right. I mean, look, Tesla is still one of the world's biggest EV makers, no question.
Sure.
But what's striking is how clearly that core EV business seems to be, declining. Mm-hmm. It's a big contrast to what we heard back in 2023.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Elon Musk projecting, 50% annual growth?
50% annual EV production growth for the foreseeable future was the line.
Foreseeable future. Okay, so here's something that, honestly, it surprised me when I saw it in the source material. In 2024, deliveries actually shrank by 1% year over year, ended up at 1.79 million units.
Which was the first annual sales decline since the Model S launched way back when.
All the way back in 2011. And it's not like things turned around in 2025. The declines actually got faster.
Yeah, the first 6 months. What was it? 720,803 cars delivered.
Right. And that's down 13% compared to the first half of 2024. So, what this tells us, really, is that the whole growth story for the core EV business,
the thing that defined them for so long.
Exactly. It hasn't just slowed down. It's like decisively reversed for the first time in over a decade. This isn't just a blip, right? It feels like a real shift.
And those delivery drops, they hit the bottom line directly, hard.
Okay.
Q1 results ending March 31st. Total revenue dropped 9%.
Okay.
But earnings per share, that collapsed 71%.
Wow. 71%.
Yeah. And it's highly probable that the Q2 results, the ones coming up on the 23rd, might show pretty similar trends, maybe even worse.
That is a huge drop. So, okay, what does this all mean? What's actually driving this? Is it just the market's full of EVs now, or are there specific competitors really putting the squeeze on?
It's definitely the competition. There are significant external headwinds.
Yeah.
We'll take Germany for a specific example. In June, right, Tesla's EV sales there just plummeted, 60% down, 60%, while the overall market grew.
Yeah, the overall German EV market actually grew by about 8.6% in June.
Okay, so Tesla's clearly losing ground then, losing market share.
Absolutely. And you can see who's gaining it. Competitors like China-based BYD, their sales in Germany nearly quadrupled just last month.
Quadrupled. Yeah. Wow. Is this mainly about price? You hear about these Chinese EVs. BYD has that Siegel model, right? Under $10,000 in China.
Exactly. And MG Motor, their ES5 is under $14,000. They've come into Europe with price points way, way below Tesla's.
Much lower.
So yeah, you've hit on the really tough spot Tesla's in. It raises this big strategic question for them.
Which is?
Do they jump into what some are calling a destructive race to the bottom price war, try and compete on price?
Which could kill margins.
Potentially. Or do they shift focus? Look elsewhere.
Okay, so elsewhere. That brings us to the future vision, right? This is where it gets really interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Musk's whole belief that the future isn't cheap EVs, it's autonomy.
Right, the Cybercab Robotaxi. Expected for mass production in 2026, supposedly. Running on Tesla's full self-driving software, FSD. No human input needed. That's the dream.
And it's a big dream. The vision is, these cybercabs driving themselves, picking up passengers through a ride-hailing network, making money 24/7. Some analysts are putting huge numbers on this. Dan Ives at Wedbush. He thinks this alone could add $1 trillion to Tesla's valuation.
$1 trillion?
$1 trillion. And then you have Cathie Wood's ARK Investment Management. They're predicting, get this, $756 billion in annual revenue from autonomous ride-hailing by 2029.
$756 billion annually.
Which, in their models, could lead to Tesla being valued at $8 trillion?
$8 trillion. Okay, that's That's definitely vision. But let's ground this a little in today's reality. FSD.
Right, the reality check.
It's not actually approved for unsupervised use anywhere in the U.S. yet.
Not yet. The testing for this ride-hailing service they're talking about, it still needs a human supervisor in the passenger seat.
And that's just operating where Austin?
Austin, yeah. They're expanding tests to Phoenix and San Francisco, but still supervised.
Okay. And what about the competition in this autonomous space? Because it's not like Tesla's the only one working on this.
Not at all. And this is crucial context. Alphabet's Waymo division. They are already doing over 250,000 fully autonomous paid trips every week.
250,000 paid trips a week with no driver.
No supervisor. Across 4 U.S. cities. And they've partnered with Uber, the world's biggest ride-hailing network.
Okay, so Waymo's actually doing it at scale.
They're operating at a scale right now that, frankly, could take Tesla years to catch up to. Even if Cybercab launches on schedule, it puts Tesla at a pretty serious disadvantage before they even get started properly.
That's a huge head start for Waymo. But isn't the argument that Tesla has, millions of cars on the road collecting data, doesn't that give them an edge eventually? Or is it just...
It's definitely a different approach, using the fleet data. Oh. And it's a massive amount of data, no doubt. But turning that shadow mode data into truly reliable, safe, unsupervised, driving across every possible scenario, that's the incredibly hard part.
The edge cases.
Exactly. Plus, the regulatory hurdles are huge. Waymo has been laser-focused on solving the driverless problem directly, building dedicated sensors, maps, systems for years. Their current operations and partnerships, like with Uber, show a lead that's, it's very real and won't be easy to overcome quickly.
So even with all the data, eventually could still be a long way off for Tesla's unsupervised FSD.
It could be. Waymo's progress suggests it's an extremely challenging path.
Right, so everyone will be watching that July 23rd call then. Musk is likely to give some kind of updated roadmap for FSD for Cybercab.
You'd expect so.
And it sounds like investors might focus more on that than on the actual Q2 performance of the car business.
Very likely. The narrative is shifting.
Okay, so bringing this all together, this tension between the current struggles and this, frankly, massive future promise. The big question for listeners trying to make sense of it all is, how do you even value a company like Tesla right now?
Yeah.
I mean, even with all the excitement about robotaxis, EV sales are still...
Yeah.
What was the figure? 72% of their total revenue.
72%. That's the core business right now. And the challenge is, as we've said, scaling autonomous ride-hailing takes years if it works out perfectly.
Right, yeah.
So that potential future income, it's not going to be enough to offset the struggling EV business anytime soon. You've got this kind of chasm almost between the present reality and the future hope.
Which brings us to the stock price, the valuation. Tesla's stock currently trades in a price-to-earnings ratio, a PE ratio, of, that's eye-popping,
right,
172.2.
Right. And just for context, compare that to the NASDAQ 100 index. That trades at a PE of around 32.3.
So Tesla is, 5 times more expensive?
Roughly 5 times more expensive than its big tech peers, your NVIDIA's, Microsoft's, Amazon's, on average, based on earnings.
And since we expect Q2 earnings to shrink, because EV sales went down.
Exactly. Unless the stock price falls sharply after July 23rd, that PE ratio could actually shoot up even higher because the E part, the earnings, gets smaller.
Making it look even more expensive.
Potentially, yes.
So based on these factors, looking at the sources, the conclusion seems to be that the stock might not look like a great buy heading into this report, or even after.
From a purely fundamentals perspective, based on current earnings and the EV business trajectory, yeah, that's the takeaway from the analysis. It looks very expensive given the immediate challenges.
Okay, so this really does underline that central tension, doesn't it? The current reality of the EV business struggling versus this huge, long-term, high-flying bet on autonomy.
Precisely.
And that July 23rd report, it's going to be massive, not just for the numbers, but for whatever Musk says about that autonomous future.
Absolutely. What's fascinating here, I think, is watching how the market tries to weigh these things. The present difficulties versus this enormous future potential, especially when that potential is still realistically years away from being fully realized. If it is, It kind of leaves you with this thought, doesn't it? How much faith should people, investors, us, anyone, place in these huge technological leaps that are promised for the future, when the actual business that pays the bills today is facing serious headwinds and really intense competition? What does it tell us about how we value these companies that are like part car maker, part tech visionary?
Yeah, part manufacturer, part maybe science fiction project right now.
It's almost a philosophical question about value and belief in the future, isn't it? Something to think about.